right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me officially welcome you tonight to the Men's Spring 2013 Hike Informational Meeting. We are just, we are super excited that you guys are here with us tonight. My name's Kendall Buckendahl. I'm the men's pastor here at the Long Point campus, Seacoast. And it's my privilege to sort of open this up this evening and to just welcome you and to give you a few things to think about, sort of set the stage, if you will, as far as what it is that we do within the context of the men's hike. A lot of you have probably come in with some preconceived notions as to what it is that we do. Yes, we do go hiking, but I will tell you this, it is the vehicle by which we do a large part of our men's ministry here at Seacoast. So I'm really excited because we've got an amazing team that's going to be here, and they're going to share with you a lot of the nuts and bolts and kind of whet your appetite, if you will, as far as what it is that we do. But if you wouldn't mind, would you just take a second? I want to honor the Lord as we enter into this time. Lord, just so thankful for what it is that you have in front of us, Lord. It's just a privilege to be here with these guys and to just share our heart for what it is that you're doing through the context of the men's hike. And Lord, as we enter in tonight, Lord, we just acknowledge your presence. We know that you have brought these guys here. You have a plan for what it is that they are to do with this men's hike. And Lord, right now, we request that your Holy Spirit just abide in us tonight and give us the inspiration necessary to ask the right questions, to seek out the correct relationships, and Lord, most of all, that we would be obedient to your calling on our life. Lord, we love you. We thank you. It's in your holy, precious name we pray. Amen. I'm not going to do a lot. There is an amazing team that has been assembled, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to share with you an inspiration, if you will. And one of the things that I've been doing over the last several days is praying for this hike. And what I have found over the years is that God uniquely puts circumstance in our path, and he asks us multiple times to pay attention. And over the last several days, I've been praying, Lord, what would you have for me to share within the context of the hike? And I was getting nothing. I was getting a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Something about sleeping in a tent with another dude. I'm just not there. You know, I was getting, leadership and, all the. No, not there. I really wasn't there. And then as I was praying through it today, and then I had the blessing of being in a leadership meeting today here at the Long Point campus, I had been praying through Luke 6. And Luke 6 is just an amazing scripture where Jesus really challenges us to work hard on something that he refers to as our foundation. And so at the bottom of Luke 6, I want to share with you starting in verse 43. And I chose the Message specifically, and I want you to hear the rich context with which he shares this charge, if you will. He says, you don't get wormy apples out of a healthy tree, nor good apples off of a diseased tree. The health of an apple tells the health of the tree. You must begin with your own life-giving lives. It's who you are, not what you say and what you do that counts. Your true being brims over with true words and deeds. Why are you so polite to me, always saying, yes, sir, and that's right, sir, and no, sir, but never doing the things that I tell you? These words I speak to you, you are not mere additions to your life, homeowner improvements on your standard of living. They are foundational words to build your life on. If you work the words that I give you into your life, you are like a smart carpenter who dug deep and laid the foundation of his house on the bedrock. When the river burst and its banks crashed against the house, nothing could shake it. It was built to last. But if you just use my words in Bible studies and don't put them into your life, you're like the dumb carpenter that simply builds a house on a substandard foundation. When the swollen river comes in and crashes in, it collapses like a house of cards, and it's a total loss. Guys, I want to share with you a metaphor, what exactly we are doing here. This group that has been assembled, this leadership team, these are guys that are here to work on your foundation. As I was sitting praying through Luke 6, I happened to glance up in our library, and there was this book, and it was the name of it was Unshakable Foundation. That was the picture that the Lord gave me for what it is that we are doing within the context of the Hike Ministry. We are helping each one of you to work on the foundation that God calls you to, so that you can be a better husband, you can be a better father, so you can be a better friend. That is what these guys are doing. These are your carpenters. These are your engineers. These are the bricklayers that you're going to have the opportunity to rub shoulders with tonight and throughout the course of as we prepare for this hike. These guys are the ones that are choosing to put themselves in a trajectory that leads to just an amazing transformation of the lives that they have an opportunity to touch. Now, I'm so excited about the leadership team that I can't even tell you. I sat here with them, and we prayed for you guys before we got ready for this meeting tonight. And so with that, I want to turn it over to our Uba Poobah for the hike for this spring. He's a dear friend of mine. And gentlemen, would you give your hand up for my friend Paul Sparrow? He's our lead carpenter tonight.
Thank you, Kendall. Evening, guys. Hope everybody's doing well. Really glad that you're here tonight. Glad you're interested in the men's hike. Let me give you a little overview about what we're up to and what the meeting's going to be like tonight. First thing, we're just going to give you some general information, okay? Just what's the deal? How's it work? Why should I go? A little bit about the meetings. There will be 4 more meetings after this. How do they run? We have a curriculum. What's that all about? I've never hiked before. I don't have any gear. Okay, we're going to be able to answer your questions. What we don't tell you informatively from the stage, we'll have an open Q&A. So we'll take your questions from the audience, and then afterwards, the leaders will hang around. By the way, anybody with red ink on their tag is a leader, member of the leadership team, a carpenter, I guess as Kendall just said. So afterwards, find a guy with a red tag if you got more questions, and we'll get you whatever info you need. Tonight, officially, registration opens. I think some people actually started registering already, which is super fine. We'll have computers open for you to register, okay? All right, so we'll give you a little overview. I want to kind of shift gears on you here real quick, take a different type of tack. What you're going to get accustomed to in coming to these meetings is that we teach. It's part of what we do. And we actually use movies to help us teach. And we're going to do that tonight. We're going to use a movie that many of you have probably seen called The Shawshank Redemption, kind of a movie that resonates with men. Let me give you a little background about this clip. First thing I want to say is I'm going to give you the swearing warning, the cussing warning, because it's a typical secular movie and there is some foul language. That's not to say that we condone it. It's just part of the movie, and, well, we couldn't get the bloopers in there. So just a heads up that we're going to have a little bit of language in the movie. Let me give you the background. The clip opens up in a prison. Most of the movie's filmed in a prison, Shawshank Prison, pretty rough place. And this actual clip is in 1966. Now, the main character is a guy named Andy Dufresne, and he's played by the actor Tim Robbins. And Andy's a little backdrop on him. He's in prison. He's in Shawshank for murder. He's been accused of murdering his wife and her lover, and actually found guilty. So he's been in prison for about 10 years. He has a life sentence. Actually, he's been in prison for 20 years. 20 years of his life sentence. The other character in this scene is a guy named Red, played by Morgan Freeman. Red is Andy Dufresne's best friend, and Red has served 40 years in prison of a life sentence. And so just prior to this scene, a fellow prisoner, a friend of theirs, has been killed. And that sort of stuff, I guess, happens in prison from time to time. But this is particularly devastating to Andy because the friend was the eyewitness to the confession of the guy, the real guy, who killed Andy's wife and her lover. And Andy would have had a chance at exoneration with this eyewitness account. And the guy's dead. And so Andy, and so is the tent. Promise you that won't happen on the trail. We use stakes; they won't fit in the stage. That was classic timing. Hope we got that on film. Anyway, Andy he realizes that any chance of ever getting out of Shawshank is gone. His exoneration opportunity is gone. So we're going to take up the clip at this point and give it a watch.
My wife used to say I'm a hard man to know. Like a closed book. Complained about it all the time. She was beautiful. God, I loved her. I just didn't know how to show it, that's all. I killed her, Red. I didn't pull the trigger. I drove her away. And that's why she died, because of me. The way I am.
That don't make you a murderer. Bad husband, maybe. Feel bad about it if you want to, but you didn't pull the trigger.
No, I didn't. Somebody else did. And I wound up in here. Bad luck, I guess.
Yeah.
It floats around. It's gotta land on somebody. It was my turn, that's all. I was in the path of the tornado. I didn't expect that the storm would last as long as it has. You think you'll ever get out of here?
Me? Yeah. One day, when I got a long white beard and 2 or 3 marbles rolling around upstairs, they let me out.
I'll tell you where I'd go. Zihuatanejo.
So, what?
Zihuatanejo. It's in Mexico. A little place on the Pacific Ocean. You know what the Mexicans say about the Pacific?
No.
They say it has no memory. That's where I want to live the rest of my life. A warm place with no memory. Open up a little hotel right on the beach. Buy some worthless old boat and fix it up new. Take my guests out charter fishing.
Zihuatanejo.
In a place like that, I could use a man that knows how to get things.
I don't think I could make it on the outside, Andy. I've been in here most of my life. I'm an institutional man now. It's like Brooks was.
Wow, you underestimate yourself.
I don't think so. I mean, in here, I'm the guy who can get things for you, sure, but outside, all you need is the yellow pages. Hell, I wouldn't even know where to begin. Pacific Ocean? Shit. About to scare me to death, something that big.
Not me. I didn't shoot my wife, and I didn't shoot her lover. Whatever mistakes I made, I paid for them and then some. That hotel, that boat, I don't think that's too much to ask.
I don't think you ought to be doing this to yourself, Andy. It's just shitty pipe dreams. I mean, Mexico is way the hell down there, and you're in here, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, right. That's the way it is. It's down there, and I'm in here. I guess it comes down to a simple choice, really. Get busy living, or get busy dying.
So, what is unique about Andy Dufresne? What's unique about him? Anybody? He's innocent. Yeah, of course, everybody in prison says they're innocent, right? What's unique about the guy? I mean, let's go back to the background. He just found out he's not going to get out. He's not going to get exonerated, and he is innocent, no doubt. What's unique about Andy Dufresne is that he is still dreaming. 20 years on the rock, 20 years in Shawshank. The guy's still dreaming. What are his dreams? What are his dreams? You heard them. What are they? Mexico. He even knows the town. Zihuatanejo. He's already got, I don't even know how you spell that, much less pronounce it. He's got it down pat. Mexico. What's he going to do in Mexico? Hotel. He's going to get a hotel. He's going to get a boat. He's going to take his guests charter fishing. The guy is a dreamer. And did you notice he's recruiting Red, also in life for prison, to come work for him? The guy is a total dreamer. All right, let's talk about Red. What are Red's dreams? What are Red's dreams? Shaking heads, right. Red has no dreams. Red absolutely has no dreams. He's an institutional man. He's been there so long, it's all that he knows. He's comfortable with his situation. He's resolved himself to a situation, and he actually tells Andy that he better get comfortable with it too. Really kind of lights into him, wants Andy to give up his dreams. What's Andy's response? Well, I guess it comes down to a simple choice. Get busy living or get busy dying. Now, those of you who haven't seen the movie, spoiler alert, but later that night, Andy Dufresne tunnels out of Shawshank Prison. So here's the question for you guys. What's it for you? Are you busy living or are you busy dying? Jesus said, I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. Does your life feel like that? Would you describe your life as abundant? Would the people around you that know you best say that you're living your life that way? Are you living the abundant life? Or have you given up your dreams? Resolved that life is a little bit less than what you had hoped for, less than what you dreamed for? Any chance that you're an institutional man like Red? And the question really is, how did that happen? How did that happen? I'll tell you how it happened. You got tricked. You absolutely got tricked into giving up the abundant life that was planned for you. And the truth of the matter is pretty much all of us have fallen to that trick at some point. You know, most of us just don't really know why. we don't really understand, but our lives feel less than full. Sort of like we're all 45 minutes late to a very important meeting. Just a minute ago, the quote that I gave you about abundant life from Jesus, that comes from John 10:10. Now let me read it to you from the Amplified Bible. The thief comes only in order to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have and enjoy life and have it in abundance to the full till it overflows. Wow. I mean, that is awesome. So some of you, if not all of you, are sitting there going, okay, so what has that got to do with going on a hike? What has that got to do with going on a hike? I'll tell you, God's got a plan for you. Almost a cliche, but he does. And I'm going to go out on a limb here. The limb I'm going to go out on, I am telling you, I'm going out on a limb, and I'm saying that going on this hike is a part of God's plan for your life. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that this hike just might change your life. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say for some of you, it will absolutely change your life forever. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say this hike can help you embrace the abundant life that Jesus died for you to have. Real, eternal, and a whole lot better than you could ever dream of. So how do you get to that? How do you get the time? How do you get the time to even try to do that? Well, Jesus is the model. Luke 5:16. But Jesus himself would often slip away to the wilderness to pray. Luke 6:12. One day soon afterward, Jesus went up on a mountain to pray. See the rhythm here? So we do what Jesus often did. As a matter of fact, the scriptures, 51% of the lessons that Jesus taught in the scriptures were in the wilderness, documented fact. Somewhere around 30-some-odd% were in buildings and the others unaccounted for. But over half were in the wilderness. And we do what Jesus did. We go to the wilderness. That's what this hike is. We go to hear from God, and we go to seek the life that he promised, the abundant life. So, what do you say we take a little peek at this adventure, the adventure that just might well help you regain the abundant life?
Come down to the river, come and let yourself in. Make good on a promise, never hurt again. If you're lost and lonely, you're broken down, bring all of your trouble, come lay 'em down. All you sinners and the weak at heart, all you helpless on the boulevard, wherever you are now, whatever evil you found, bring all of your trouble, come lay 'em down. We're all tied to the same old failing, finding shelter, things we know. We're all dirty, like corrupted small towns. Bring our trouble, bring our trouble, lay 'em down. Oh, you rich men and the high above, all of those with and without love, all you burden
broken down, all of your troubles, come lay 'em down, come lay 'em down, come lay 'em down, come lay 'em down.
I'm Cody Carlton. I'm going to be hiking on this hike and also taking you through the curriculum piece Paul touched on a little bit tonight. Before I get into the curriculum, though, I want to tell you a little bit about the hike meetings. Paul mentioned that we were going to have a few hike meetings. Just give you a little information about how those are structured. To get us ready for the mountain, we'll have 4 pre-hike meetings. And the purpose of these meetings really is threefold. The first is an opportunity for you to get to know the guys that are going to be on your team. The second is for us to share information with you about gear, about equipment, about food, about trail. And third, it's about developing a common language that we will begin to use while we're on the mountain. Each meeting is organized into 3 parts. We'll have a part where we share some information about gear for you. Jeremy will be doing that. He'll start that tonight a little bit. Then we'll have a piece on curriculum. And then the last part of the meeting, the bulk of the meeting really is time spent with your teams, sitting around, getting to know the guys that you're going to be on the mountain with. Our first meeting is Monday, March 11th, 6:30 to 8:30, always right here in the warehouse. 4 meetings. That's it, guys. Every other Monday, starting March 11th, all the way through April 22nd, which will be the week of the hike. We leave that Thursday. Now, I've got a handout tonight that's got those dates listed out for you with the times, so you can take those with you and put them on your calendars before you leave. To help develop the common language, we're going to be doing a book study on John Eldridge's Wild at Heart. Conveniently enough, there are copies available in the bookstore here. You can purchase it at Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. You can get it Family Christian. You can also order it online. If you're a digital guy living in an analog world, you can get it Kindle store, iBooks, Nook. It's available for you. I thought I'd spend some time tonight introducing you to the book. But before we tell you what the book is about, I thought I'd start by telling you what the book's not. This book is not a how-to. It's not 7 steps to a better life. It's not a book about how a man ought to be, or even what a good husband, a good father, a good Christian ought to be. Wild at Heart is a map to the true heart of man. Every man was born a boy. Every little boy has dreams, big dreams, dreams of being the hero, of beating the bad guys, of doing daring feats and rescuing the damsel in distress. As little boys, we dream of adventure. We dream of exploring, following in the footsteps of Magellan, of Hannibal, of Cook, of Perry, looking for new territories, discovering new lands, but discovering and searching for something else. Trying to answer questions that can't be answered around the kitchen table or in front of the television. Who am I? What am I here for? What am I destined for? Do I have what it takes? We're filled with the desire to find the answers to those questions, to launch out onto grand adventures, those daring adventures to rescue a damsel in distress, to fight the enemy. But as we get older, something happens. The dreams get buried within us. We lose that sense of adventure. We lose that sense of wonder. We become boxed into our society. Let me share a little from the introduction to the book. Dear Lord, do we really need another book about men? Nope. We need something else. We need permission. Permission to be what we are, men made in God's image. Permission to live from the heart and not from the list of should and ought to that has left so many of us tired and bored. No, men need something else. They need a deeper understanding of why they long for adventures and battles and a beauty, and why God made them just like that. So I offer this book, not as the 7 steps of being a better Christian, but as a safari of the heart to recover a life of freedom, passion, and adventure. I believe it will help men get their hearts back. Guys, this is good stuff. We've only just touched the tip of the iceberg of what Eldridge and God have to share to each one of us about our hearts, about who we are, and recognizing that the lives that we lead and the men that we are most times aren't the men that we were designed to be and the lives that we were created to live. If you're like most men, you've had a lot of thoughts as you've been sitting there. Some of you may be thinking, man, I'm all in. I'm all about getting away, disconnecting, unplugging, making room for a few days. But couldn't we do it in a conference center or a hotel? Hey, maybe around a golf course. Does it have to be a hike? You heard from Paul. The reason we go to the wilderness, because we're following the example that Christ set for us. The importance that the wilderness played in the life and in the ministry, not just of Jesus, but of men of God throughout the Old and New Testament. Why a hike? Well, the answer to that question, Eldridge reminds us, can be found in the Bible itself. In the book of Genesis, Eve was created in the garden. Adam was created outside of the garden in the wilderness. We were created for the wilderness. We've lost that. Within each one of us, whether we recognize it or not, there's a desire to get back to that wilderness. A desire to rekindle that sense of adventure. A desire to engage in that battle against the enemy. A desire to rescue that damsel in distress. You may have other thoughts while you've been sitting there, like, I don't really have time for this right now. Or, this may be for other guys, but it really isn't for me. You can guarantee that the vast majority of those thoughts are from the enemy. The last thing the enemy wants is for you to sign up and to go on the hike. He truly is afraid of you going on this hike. He truly is afraid of what can happen to you on that mountain. and of the man that you will leave that mountain. Fight those thoughts. Press on. I could stand up here and tell you about what the hike has done for me, but you've heard enough from me tonight. There's more of me to come later on. What I want you to hear from, though, are from the hearts of some of the guys that not too long ago were sitting right where you were. Guys that came to an informational meeting. Guys that didn't listen to those lies from the enemy. Guys that pressed through their doubts, their fears, their anxieties. Guys that came back, changed men. So I want you to listen to their stories of how the hike impacted them. And the first one we're going to hear from Jason Shaw. Jason, if you'll come up.
Hey guys, my name's Jason Shaw, and I'm going to be one of your logistic coordinators on this hike. I was asked to say a little bit about what my experience has been with the hike, and when I first went on the hike, like some of you may be out here tonight, I didn't know anyone who had gone on the hike. I didn't know anyone else who was going on the hike. So I felt a little outside of my comfort zone because of that. Furthermore, I was worried that, with a hike and not sure how long it was going to be or where we were going, that maybe I was out of shape. Knees had been bothering me a little bit before that. Then I start worrying about whether I have the right gear or not, and I don't have all the stuff to go camping or hiking and in the woods and all that stuff. And I found that I was coming up with a lot of reasons why I shouldn't go, or why it would be easy for me not to go. In addition to having stuff with work and personal things going on and a lot of other stuff that just didn't feel I had time to do the hike. But I kept feeling something telling me I needed to do this. I needed to go on the hike. And I did. The experience that I had was indescribable. I know you heard Paul mention that for some of you in here that it's going to be the hike will be a life changer, and that definitely fits me. The experience is different for everyone. What you take with you on the mountain when you go on the hike, and what you choose to leave behind on the mountain when you're on the hike, and what you bring back with you from the hike is different from everyone. But I know that after going on the hike, I was a very different person. The relationships that I have now are some of the best and most fulfilling relationships I've ever had. Some of my best friends that I call on now are brothers that I met on the hike. I've never been more plugged into my church or my faith since coming back from that hike. And if it hadn't been for the relationships that I formed early on the hike, I probably would have never survived those 2 grizzly bear attacks on the hike either. I'm just kidding. They were black bears. No, seriously. It doesn't matter where you are in your life, with your church, with your faith, with relationships that you have. If you want more out of church, if you want more, I can honestly say, out of life, I really think you do well by going on this hike. And like Paul mentioned, a lot of us will be in the back afterwards. If anyone else wants to ask me any questions about it, I'd be happy to elaborate more. But I hope everyone in this room, regardless of whatever reasons you you have or concerns that you have, don't listen to the enemy with that, and just commit to going on this hike.
Great job. Thanks, man. All right. Thanks, Jason. Next, we're going to hear from Chad Evangelista.
I was one of those guys that was not all in. In fact, it was my wife that signed me up for this. I took home a bunch of flyers from Men's Wednesday, had the hike flyer in there, and I laid it on the table, and I didn't see it anymore after that. Next thing you know, I'm just getting these Outlook notices, and my wife had actually put these reminders every week about this hike meeting starting. And I'm like, I've never been camping before. I've never slept outside. I'm a tech guy in a cube. You know, my idea of having fun is being indoors in front of a computer. So this definitely was not my cup of tea. But my wife had insisted, and so I was like, you know, the Holy Spirit does speak through my wife, so I will go. And fortunately, I did go, because after this informational meeting, I knew that I had to go. I was lukewarm in my walk with Christ, and I knew I was lacking passion in everything that I did. Passion in work, passion with my wife, passion for Christ. And I knew that I needed that, and I knew that this would give it to me. So even before the meeting was over, I actually cheated and registered before everybody else. I was the first one to register. I don't know if you guys knew that. Because I knew if I had already signed up, I couldn't back out. You know, because I am a man of my word if that's anything, you know. I wasn't going to back out. So that's what I did. Yeah, I did have a lot of things that I thought I couldn't do because I wasn't used to being outside, that type of thing. Yeah, I did have one other thing, too. Let me just show this to you guys. Don't be scared. And the zipper's stuck. Zipper's stuck on both of these things. Well, I don't know if you can tell, but I have leg braces on. This is how I went on the hike. About 6 months before the hike, I had a major reconstructive ACL surgery. And March, the month before the actual hike, I got an okay from my doctor to go on this thing. And he said, you can go, but it'll hurt. And I tell you what, it was worth the pain. It was worth the struggle. You know, I didn't know if I could do it, but when I was on that mountain, God was there with me. These men were there with me. And I never thought I could love another man. You know, women, yes. Men, I tell you, I love these hike leaders. I love these men because they loved me in such a way that I didn't know was capable. And it actually showed me God's love through that too. And it awakened this passion in me. You know, it had changed my marriage. It had changed the way I walked and has just made me a better man overall. So if you guys think you can't do it, you can. Talk to me, and I will tell you you can. Talk to any of these men, and they will tell you they can. And even if you can't, they will help you through it. And you will get through it, and you will encounter God the way I did. So, thank you.
Perfect. Chad, thank you. Next, we're going to hear from Caleb Scott. Caleb, come on up.
All right, is this thing still on? All right, great. I got poor man's iPad up here. Going first has its advantages. I have to follow Chad. I am Caleb Scott, and to tell you what I got out of this hike, to tell you what the hike really meant to me, I really have to tell you a little bit about myself. Married, 2 kids with 1 on the way. I'm an engineer. I'm a cubicle jockey. And I had never been backpacking before. And for me, the hike, the big question was, did I have what it took? Did I have what it took mentally? Did I have what it took physically? to spend 4 days out in the mountains, carrying what I needed to survive for that 4 days on my back. You know, it was something that I expected just a moment to go by when I knew I had what it took. But instead, it was a series of 4 days, continually reinforcing through other people, through God, just through time walking silently, that you did have what it took. I had a lot of apprehension before I went on this hike. I had a lot of apprehension because I hadn't done something like this before, and I really wondered if it was something that I was equipped for. But I have to say that unplugging, leaving your BlackBerry in the car so that the battery can die all by itself, leaving your watch in the car is really, really nice, especially for people that love checking their email. And any of the other leashes that we have on us, it is just nice not knowing what time it is by choice and just saying, you know what, it doesn't matter, and just hiking. For me, what happened up there on the mountain in terms of finding out what I had inside me, when you had been walking for a while, you could only guess. Since I didn't have a watch, I have no idea how long I was walking. It was something that you couldn't get anywhere else. You can't get it signing up for a 5K. You can't get it going to a conference. You can't get it sitting around in a room in this church for an hour every week. The only place you can get it is when you go someplace you've never been and you push yourself to do something that you never thought that you would even be interested in doing. If any of this sounds like it might be what's going through your head, come talk to me, but trust me, it's a question that you may ask yourself that's definitely worth getting an answer to. So, thanks, guys.
One more, guys. Dennis Bradford's going to come up and share his experience on the mountain.
My name is Dennis Bradford, and just a little background is I spent 14 years in the Marine Corps, and so hiking to me had a little bit different connotation. We hiked with lots and lots of gear, and when we got somewhere, wherever we were going, we were trying to kill somebody. But the good news is that's not the idea of this hike. They asked me to share a little bit about what the hike means to me, and this will be my third hike this time, and to tell a little bit of how it changed my life is sort of an understatement. It radically changed my entire family. So last year, this time, went to the first hike meeting and said, kind of thought, hey, cool, I like camping and I like hiking. I'd like to get to know some of these guys. And so started coming to the hike meetings. And my entire life, I had been a leader in something, whether it was the Marine Corps or wherever it was, I was always in some kind of leadership role and had no problem getting in front of people and leading people, including some time in combat. But in my house, I was not really the leader, not the spiritual leader or the emotional leader that God called us to be. I wasn't that guy. On the outside I was, but not inside my house. So I go up on the mountain, and you're going to hear a lot of, when you talk to folks who have been there, they're going to say you're going to form bonds and make friends like you've never made before, and you absolutely will. But if you will open your hearts and open your minds, God will talk to you, clearly talk to you. And God clearly said to me, hey, knucklehead, I gave you the leadership gene. You are a leader. It's time to lead your family. It's not time. You've done plenty of leading outside. It's now time for you to lead the family. So I left the mountain and I realized, okay, it's time for me to be a leader. So I started trying to go about doing those things. I was trying to read the right things and surround myself with the right people so I could be a leader. And I really wasn't sure if I was doing it correctly. And then my family went on vacation over Thanksgiving, this past Thanksgiving, down to the Keys with another family who we've been witnessing to for about a year, trying to sort of get them into church. And we put the kids to bed, and we were sitting around one night and kind of talking about the hike and church, and they were having sort of the same issues we had. He wasn't the leader, and the wife wanted, and yada, yada. So they said, there was a pause in it, and they said, in the conversation, and he said, so when did you start being a leader, and how did you become the leader of your family like you are now? And my wife, Dana, spoke up without even taking a breath and said, oh, it was the Sunday after he came back from the hike. So immediately I realized that this hike had changed my life. And not only did I didn't realize it, but my wife and my kids absolutely knew it. And so if you have any questions, if God is going to speak to you out there, if you will open your hearts and your minds, I promise you that God will speak to you, whatever your need or wants are. Thanks.
Did you begin to hear themes throughout each of the guys' stories? None of them knew what they were going to share. But you heard the recurring themes. Why hike? To disconnect. To be away from the distractions so that we can hear what God has in store for us. That's what the hike is about. So we're going to continue on with our meeting. Jeremy is going to come up and share. He's our gear and trail guru. I forgot your new title that Kendall gave you tonight, so my apologies. But come on up, Jeremy.
Hey, guys. First and foremost, to date, we haven't killed anybody. So please don't worry about that. We'll be just fine. So you just heard some pretty amazing stories. You got to hear from the hearts of some men that have been on this hike. And if you kept going through this room, you would continue to hear the same things. I suspect that some of the concerns that they had, some of the, oh no, in your own mind kind of things that are going on, and it's like, can I do this? Am I the man to do this? Probably some of that's bouncing around this room right now. And the fact of the matter is, it's perfectly normal. But what's important is that we rise above it. Understand where these concerns or these issues come from, and then just tell the enemy that we're not going to accept that. So what I would love to do is have you guys come along with us for this amazing adventure. Listen to that tugging in your heart that's pulling you into this adventure. Get out into the wilderness like Jesus did. As you've heard these guys say, you get out there for a period of time, and that buzz, that electronic buzz of your email or your iPhone or iPad, it starts to die away, and you can actually start to hear the voice of God, and it's such a cool thing. We were meant to do this, guys. We need to follow after what Jesus, his example and what he modeled, and get out into the wilderness. Don't let fear and trepidation hold you back from this. You were meant to do this. Through the book study we're going to go through over the next several weeks, we're going to expound on this, and you're going to hear more about the fact that we were meant to be out. We were meant to be seeking God in the wilderness. Some of you may be thinking, well, I'm not the outdoorsy type, and this just doesn't seem like something that's kind of up that I'd be good at. You still need to do this because there is something very significant for you. If you're in this room tonight, God has you here for a reason. He has something significant for you out there on that mountain. Myself, our team, the Trail Boss and Logistics guys, our whole job is to help you be prepared. Our whole job is to help you get the gear, guide you, and then lead you out there on the trail so that you can experience what God has for you. The trek will be challenging, as you've heard from some of these guys, but it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to, again, make some great relationships, and it will be impactful. We're going to get you ready. You're each going to get a handout that, if it's not coming around yet, it will come around soon, that I'm going to kind of talk through real quickly. On this handout, there are a couple of sections, 3 sections actually. One is where you can rent gear. One is where you can buy gear, and another one is kind of the education points we're going to go through over the next few weeks. If this is your first hike, not sure about backpacking, haven't really done it before, renting or borrowing, if you've got friends also, renting or borrowing is a really good choice. There's a company here in Mount Pleasant called The Backpacker. Their address and phone number is on here. They rent all kinds of different gear. I highly encourage renting for your first hike because it gives you an idea. You get your gear covered and you can focus on what we're focusing on here at the meetings. If you choose to purchase, Backpacker and or Half Moon Outfitters do offer us a 10% discount. So they come alongside of us, support us in this, and give us a discount on things we can use on the hike. So it's gear, backpacks, tents, technical clothing that you would wear. A flannel shirt you find there is not really covered, so keep it to the technical stuff. And then when you look at the last section here, summary, each week is broken down, and we're going to talk through and explain the equipment you guys are going to need. We're going to provide you with a list of all the gear. We're going to help you get that gear if you need it, and make sure that you are well prepared before you hit the trails on that fateful Thursday. Okay, so. Please don't let a lack of gear or a sense of, I've never done this before, stop you. Please, we're going to have a great time. Our team is going to take great care of you. Please make sure that you're out there with us. From a fitness perspective, some may be feeling like, well, I don't know if I'm ready for it from a fitness perspective. Ryan Kelly, the big guy in the back, is going to be our point man for bridge hikes. So every Saturday, starting this coming Saturday, we're all going to meet. If you have a red shirt, feel free to wear a red shirt. That kind of the whole unity thing. It helps us. Plus, it also helps us kind of know where everybody is. If you don't have a red shirt, please don't let that stop you. Please don't not come to the bridge hikes because you don't have a red shirt. But show up 7:30 every Saturday. It's going to start this coming Saturday. So if you're ready to roll, as we move through and as you start acquiring gear and things, we'll start to encourage you a little bit to maybe wear your backpack if you have the availability to do that. Starting this Saturday is very simply just kind of a march, a bunch of us going up the bridge, guys. So not necessary to have gear yet. And then next week, I'm going to introduce y'all to the trail boss and logistics coordinators for each of the teams. So these will be your point guys for each of your teams that you join for any questions that you might have. That's it. Guys, please come join us.
Okay, guys, we're going to just kind of open it up here for question and answer between Jeremy and, who's my mic dude? I need a mic dude. Gentleman, Brad Mann, your mic dude. Round of applause. Brad
and Ryan. We've got Ryan over here, too.
And Ryan Kelly, the mic guys. Okay, so a lot of information, a lot of questions. Have at it. We are yours. What questions do you have? Is there a cost? Yes, it's a $50, good question, Alan. It's a $50 registration fee. Registration starts tonight, and we have stations around to get you registered. If cost is an issue for you, and don't be embarrassed about that, we will get you on this hike, okay? If you don't have $50 in your pocket, but you want to register tonight, we will register you tonight, okay? And you're going, wait, Jeremy was saying gear.
Yeah.
The gear, I don't, I'm out of work. I want to go. I can't get gear. We will help you find gear, okay? There's a guy on every team. You'll be put on a hike team. There's a guy on every team whose job it is to help you find gear, okay? If you got great job, big money, you want to go buy fancy gear, we might not encourage that, but
right.
If you want to do that. But don't let that, the lie of you don't have any money, you can't go on this hike, hit you. We will get you gear, and by hook or by crook, we'll get you on the hike.
We've never sent a hiker out onto the trail without a tent or someplace to sleep.
Correct. Sleeping bag too.
That too, yeah.
Yeah. And a backpack.
Yeah.
And the registration fee covers dinner each night on the trail. Everybody starts off with a one wicking T-shirt that's part of that registration. So there's one
That's right.
piece that you don't have to buy
That's right.
outside the registration. So your dinners are covered each night on the mountain, and the hike T-shirt, which is a nice wicking material.
Yep. What else?
What if we have to miss one of the meetings because we're out of the country? Is there video or what? I mean,
I'll pass that to Cody. What if you miss one of the meetings, work, as you travel somewhere far away and you can't get to the meeting, but you want to still go on the hike? What's the deal?
There are 4 meetings. The meetings, we really encourage you to be there for each of them, but we know life happens. And we know there are trips that may have already been planned before you knew about the hike. Yes, each of the meetings are videoed, and your team lead, once you get assigned to a team after you register, will send out the links to the videos after each meeting so that you can view it and not miss any of the content that was shared, whether it relates to curriculum or to information about gear. All that will be part of the video.
But please don't let the availability of a video keep you from coming to the meeting.
Yeah.
Out of town, totally legit, get it, and things happen. But the more meetings you can make it to, the better you'll know the guys on your team, okay? You'll know them on the mountain anyway, even if you miss several meetings. But we highly encourage you to get to every single meeting when you're in town, okay? What else? Come on, okay, Alan.
Yeah.
What about footwear? Do you have to wear boots or hiking shoes?
Great question. We'll talk a lot more about footwear next week, but the summary for tonight would be we've seen people hike in many different things. Preference would be some kind of hiking shoe or boot, depending on your ankles and what you're more comfortable in. A trail runner also works really well. We discourage any kind of work boots, though, because those big leather work boots are blister makers and not a good choice. So we've had people hike in sneakers. Again, footwear. We really want to see you guys in a hiking style shoe. If you've got something and you have a question on, bring it to us. We'll take a look at it and go from there.
Yeah, don't let a hiking style shoe keep you from going on the
absolutely
hike.
not.
Okay, we've seen guys have hiked in all different sorts of shoes, from cross trainers to real fancy, nice hiking boots.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll take a look at your shoe. You got any questions? You got a whole bunch of experts. We'll take a look at your shoes and help you make the right decision so that your feet will be as comfortable as possible, which is the most important piece of gear, is what is on your feet.
And if you're going to go out, as I'm sure that there are some hard chargers in here, they're going to go get shoes even before our first equipment meeting in 2 weeks. If you go get shoes, go to one of those 2 places that I mentioned on that sheet, if you don't mind, at least as a starting point to get fit. Because if you go get a hiking shoe that's the exact same size as the shoes you wear on a daily basis, you're going to be really, really sore. You want at least, the way I tend to teach it is put your foot in, shove your toes all the way to the front, and you need to be able to put your 2 to 3 fingers behind your heel in that shoe. And that's assuming you're still wearing 1 or 2 pairs of socks. We'll get to the sock thing. But you've got to have, it's about a half a size or a full size, depending on your foot, larger than what you would normally wear in a regular shoe. Now, if you're going to a cross trainer and you're wearing technical socks, that can be closer, but it still needs to be slightly large.
Yeah, and don't worry, the places, the Half Moon Outfitters and the Backpacker, they know how to size you.
That's right.
To make sure that you've got the right shoe, okay? They're not going to put you in an 11 and a half when your foot is an 11, okay? Or an 11 when you're an 11 and a half. So don't worry, they got experts, they'll take care of you. What else? Come on. This side hadn't asked anything. It's everybody over here. What's up? All right, Frank. What's that? Frank wants to know where we're going. We are going to the mountains. Most of you can probably figure out how far of a drive that might be. It won't be like a 12-hour drive or anything. We are going to the mountains. Why won't you tell us, Paul? We would like to know the name of the mountain because I'm a research kind of guy, and I'm going to go home and look it up and check out all the trails so I can know exactly what's going on, put it in my iPhone, have the whole thing planned out. Because there's an intentionality to what we're doing. We run the hike, you hike. Okay? We want you to just unplug and let go. This is one experience you don't have to control. You don't need to control. You need to trust the Lord. Okay? He put us in these jobs for a certain reason. We really do know what we're doing. We're not a bunch of weekend warrior yahoos. This ministry's been going on for over 6 years. We will get you from point A to point B safely. And when we get off the mountain, you probably might not still know exactly where you went. Yeah. Don't worry about it is the short answer. What else? Come on. What about medical contingency?
Yeah, so, great question. As you're, I'm going to answer that in a couple of parts. First and foremost, as you start to register, the registration link asks you a whole bunch of questions about medical background. So we, the leadership team, will have that information. And then should there be a medical issue that someone would have to be evacuated, we have plans and contingencies for that. We have someone, Dennis Bradford, who's had to step out. He is our
emergency contact.
Emergency
Stay-at-home
contact. Yeah, stay-at-home dude. He's an emergency contact guy. So we carry, the Trail Boss team carries a little doodad with us that we can fire off to a satellite saying everybody's fine. If something goes really, really, really bad, which hasn't yet, so please don't freak out about that. But if something does, we have the ability to call in the cavalry as well. So all of that's covered, and you're in good hands.
So if you have, when you register, those of you who'll be registering tonight, and I hope all of you will, part of the registration form is asking that sort of information, Alan. So do you have allergies? You know, we need to know that. Do we need to, EpiPen type thing? Yeah. Those simple types of things, okay? Do you have you, got bad knees or bad back? We just need to know those things, right?
Are you allergic to bear bites? No, I'm just kidding.
There aren't.
No, there's not. I'm kidding. But bee stings, though, we do need to know about anaphylaxis.
And if you have concerns, like I've got some condition, come talk to us. Look, I had open heart surgery a year before my first hike, which was 4 years ago. If I can do it, you can do it. And I am really out of shape right now. I have not done a thing since the last hike. So I'm thinking about the bridge hike Saturday. I'm thinking, I'm going to get on the treadmill a couple of times so I don't get winded going up. We'll help you get ready, okay? And I'll be getting ready right along with you. What else?
Can we bring fly fishing gear?
Can we bring fly fishing gear? I don't think we've ever been asked that question before. That's a
people
cool
just
question.
Usually do it.
That's a cool question. I like that.
Can you bring fly fishing gear?
If you're on my team, do I get to cook the fish with you and have that for dinner? Because that could be top shelf.
Do you have a small, like backpack style fly? Then, if you feel like carrying it, bring it. It's whether you'll be able to use it or not. Don't know. Well, actually, I do know, but I can't tell you. Yeah.
What else? Everybody is informed. Come on, it's got to be some more stuff on your mind.
How far are we going to hike?
How far are we going to hike? You want to take that one?
Sure. What's that? You
take it. No, it's yours.
More than 2 miles, less than 100. Now, in all seriousness, guys, when it comes to the mileage, it's totally doable. Like I said before, we're gonna challenge you a little bit, but we've had a lot of people go on these hikes, and every one of them has come home. So you'll be just fine.
Yeah, we're not hiking in the pitch black dark, and that sort of thing. We get up in the morning and have breakfast and put on our backpacks and hike and stop for breaks and stop for lunch. This is not the Bataan Death March, okay? All right? You'll be good. You'll be fine. But you know what? We're not going to tell you how far you're hiking. And you just got to let go, How many miles are we hiking today, Trail Boss? It's Saturday morning. We had a great hike yesterday. How many miles are we hiking today?
More than one.
That's the best you're going to get every day. You don't need to know. It doesn't matter. What we're trying to do is just get away.
That's right.
Unplug. Not have to control anything. We're men. Men, we like to control. We like to be in control. Unplug, let go. God is in control. You just unplug, and he's going to show up so big, it's going to blow your mind. What else? Anything at all?
He must be ready to register.
I think they're
one
ready
more.
to register.
What?
Oh,
Go ahead,
one
go
more.
ahead.
There we go.
Anything for the wives of the participants? Have them meet at any time or anything like
That's a really good question. The question is, what about the wives? Do they get involved? What's the deal with that? Our emergency contact guy has all of your emergency contact information. Those of you that are married, I assume it would be your wife. So we have that information. We will send out some periodic communications prior to the hike, just keeping them informed, letting them know a little bit about a procedure. Okay, if there are any emergencies, they will know to contact Dennis Bradford, who will be on call 24/7 throughout the entire hike. Okay, we also have a cookout at the end of the hike season, as it is, and it should be on your calendar. If it's not, we'll get to you soon enough. The cookout is 1 week after the hike. Actually, it's the Friday after, right here in the warehouse. We encourage families and kids, and we hit Jumpy Castle, and we grill and throw up photos of what we went through and all, and try to get the wives plugged in. Yeah, important. And we give you some advice during the course of meetings about the treatment of your wife and readying her for the hike as well. Prayer is an important part of what we do. You've heard it tonight. Whether or not you believe in spiritual warfare, it's real. The enemy, his job is simple: keep you from fellowship with the Lord. It's a simple job. That's his job description. Okay, and all his minions help him do that. So prayer is an important part of what we do. Kevin Hare is the head of our spiritual leaders. We have one on each team. And behind the scenes, Kevin's job is to build a team, which he's already built, of prayer warriors here at Seacoast. They're already praying over you, over your family, even though you hadn't registered yet. Over you, because we know you're going to register tonight. Over you, your families, your children, okay? Prayer is a huge part of what we do. Frank, what do you got? Did everybody get a handout? If you didn't, Frank will hand them out, pass them out, okay? Any other questions? How do we get to the hike? That's a good question. Cody, you want to take that one?
We drive. No. One of the tasks of each of the team logistics guys is to find out who has vehicles, trucks, SUVs that can hold gear for 3 or 4 guys, and come up with the driving plan. They assign people to the cars, folks that are willing to drive. Each person pitches in for some gas money, and they make the assignments, hand out the driving directions the morning that we meet here to head to the mountain.
Totally organized.
So we'll drive up as teams.
Yep, totally organized. Good question. Anybody else? Once, twice, all gone. Okay, like I said, the members of the leadership team have red on their name tag, unless they didn't follow instructions. Oh, these guys did. Excellent. Did I? Okay, good. That would have been ridiculous.
Bad,
yeah. So we'll be hanging around. If you feel like, I want to think about it, what do you got to think about? You're here. You're here for a reason. God is calling you to the mountain. I guarantee it. Why else would you be here? Okay? Jump on it. We will get you registered. Like we said, there are stations around here, and leadership team will be hanging around, and we will see you, hopefully all of you, in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight
March
is
11th.
our first meeting, and it will begin at 6:30. We honor the time. Notice we're going to get you out of here plenty of time. We go 6:30 to 8:30, and we hard stop at 8:30, okay? So you can count on that for Mama if those of you who need to make sure that Mama knows when you're getting home, like I do. Okay, so I'll just ask Brother Kevin Hare to pray, and we will wrap up our meeting. Kevin?
Lord God, what an honor and a privilege it is to come before you tonight and pray over this group of men, these leaders, God. I just ask you to go before us, go around us, God. We call right now on your army of angels, God, to go with us as we prepare for this hike, to prepare us and protect us. God, we look forward to what you're going to do in each and every life here. We can't wait to meet you on the mountain. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thanks for coming, guys. Let's get registered. We'll see you in 2 weeks.